Welcome to the Andy Social Podcast. My name is Andy motherfucking Dowling. Hello. Welcome to another week, another Andy Social Podcast episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. This episode is a little bit of a mindfuck. It's a bit weird. It's a bit out there because the person that's editing this intro and this episode is this week's guest. It is TY. It's Tim Yatras. And for those of you that haven't been playing along with the life of Andy Dowling or the life of Lord or the life of whatever else, TY was the drummer in Dungeon and the drummer in Lord for a fairly significant period of time. He's played on a whole bunch of different releases over the years, and up until recently was also doing a lot of session work for Lord as well, even though he left the band quite a few years ago. So TY is still a very big integral part of the band and helps us out with a whole bunch of different things. And both Tim in our band, LT, myself, we do a lot of work on the side with TY and a whole range of different things, and one of them being that TY edits this podcast. So hello, TY. So I thought I'd catch up with him because it's been quite a while since we've really had a good chat, and I thought it'd be cool to do a podcast episode where we talk about not only sort of the Dungeon and Lord years, but what he's been doing since then. He is a jack of all trades. He is somebody that's dabbled in so many different bands over the years. He's played, I'm not going to get them all, but Nazul, Battalion, Autumn's Dawn, Drown in the Light, Austere, Germ, I'm sure there's a bunch of others. I'm sure there's like a really obvious one that I've completely forgotten. But anyway, sorry, TY, you can add that in. Just throw a random voice in there and just fill in the gaps. But we caught up at TY's new little studio that he has up in Brisbane. He relocated to Brisbane several months ago with his wife, and he's just getting started with getting the foundations of his business up and running up there. And he's really sort of dived into the audio engineering sort of field and doing a lot of production and just some really interesting work. He not only does a lot of work for bands and people like myself doing podcasts, but he is doing a lot of weird stuff with a lot of weird clients, and he touches on a lot of that. But yeah, I'm going to stop crapping on. This episode is got so much crapping on. We shit on Matt Bell, who was a previous guest of the podcast, episode, 99, 98, 99? 99, I think. So sorry, Matt. We just shit on you constantly throughout this whole podcast episode. This is a lot of fun, a lot of tongue-in-cheek, a lot of just great banter backwards and forwards. TY is just one of those really good guys that you can have a great conversation with, shoot the shit, and just take the piss and have a lot of fun. So a lot of cool things in here, a lot of stuff that you may not have known about TY over the years. So hopefully this might be some interesting little stories along the way and whatnot. But the most important thing is this is a lot of fun. This is a really, really cool episode. So everything that TY is involved with in his projects, his bands, I'm going to have this monster list over at andysocial.net in the show notes. So go over there, check it out, and you'll be able to contact him, especially if you want to utilize any of his skills in the future. So, okay, enough. TY, let's wrap this up. Let's kick into this episode with, well, it's you, TY, Tim Yatras. Who would have thought, like, 12 years ago, I'd be sitting here with my little notepad to ask you questions about your life. It's like
a VW notepad, no less.
Yeah, only the very best. Tim Yatras, this is your life. Anyway, fuck it. We'll just wing it.
All right.
How you doing?
Are you recording?
Yeah.
Did you record all that?
Yeah. How's that banter?
Yeah, that's why everyone, when I edit your podcasts, it's always like all this stuff at the start, and the people are like really confused. Like, are you recording? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh fuck.
That's all the hot shots in the United States do that. So I'm like, I've got to follow them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thanks for having me over in Brisbane.
It's all right. Your hometown.
My hometown.
Back to your land, back to your people.
Yes, I've already waved at a bunch of people coming here. They didn't know who I was. But how long have you been living in Brisbane for now? It's only been a few months, isn't it?
July, 4 months.
You got a unit here. And I was up here a few months ago. We attempted to do a podcast, but we just got drunk instead.
seemed like the better option at the
At
time.
the time, it seemed to be the natural progression.
Yeah.
We decided that we're just going to do it in unison this time. So we've got some beers out, and we're sitting in your studio. You got this mad setup with this unit that you've got, where you've got this underground little labyrinth of
Bunker.
Yeah, that's the better word. And it's cool. Like last time I was here, there was nothing in here at all. It was just a empty room with some tiles and a couple of your desk, and that's about it. Now it's got, as you said, like as of like a week ago or a few days ago, now you got like a bit of extra insulation and acoustic apparatus.
Yeah. Sound dampening panels. I don't know. I don't even know the word for them. But anyway, I think when most people make a room for recording, the point is to make it have like a really good characteristic sound and
what, like unique?
Yeah, like wooden floating floors and there's just like if you go in there and you fucking hit an acoustic guitar in there, it sounds like magic. I'm like, fuck that.
I was waiting on where this was going.
I'm going to make this dead as fuck.
Yeah.
So this room just sounds like nothing. So whatever is recorded in here, or when I listen back to something in here, it's just nothing. It's just the true kind of sound characteristics.
Whatever's being put out is what's being recorded.
Exactly.
It's not being messed with.
Yeah.
Any ambience in the room or
exactly. It's not Abbey Road or anything. It's
no
Erneton Street.
There's no Tim Yatras vibes.
No,
at least in the room anyway.
I mean, it's a good thing because the drier shit I get, then the more I can just add later.
Have you been getting many people in here since you've moved in, or are you still sort of just?
No, not in here because I didn't want to put the word out until I had everything done. Because
word's out now.
Well, in a couple of weeks, but. That's all right. I booked a voiceover session in here, and I knew that was like my cut-off date when I had to have everything finished.
Yeah.
And it was kind of good because I've been lagging and I've just been doing online work and mixing stuff, and I just had like a backlog of heaps of shit that I haven't done because we moved up here and finished renovating the old place.
Yeah.
So I was way behind in stuff. So when I came up here, I was busy enough, but it was good to put a date on it when I need to get it finished and get it looking all schmicko and pro.
You've been telling me about some of the jobs you've been doing recently, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, where does this stuff come from? Because, like, I think for most people that we know over the years, and anyone who has a studio, usually you're recording music, or you're recording like a band coming in, or an artist that wants to record a song or something like that. But you've been doing like all this weird shit.
Yeah, I love like. I wouldn't say like my first love isn't recording other people. But I do really enjoy recording other bands, and I get super excited when it's like a good band or something. Like recently, because when I was living in Wollongong still, I was working out of Main Street Studios. It's like a super nice studio with an SSL console and like fucking a handful of U87s and stuff. It was like super good. And it was just really good when you got an artist in because, I mean, I'll just fucking say it, three quarters are dog shit. And they come in and they say, oh, I'm going to do this and it's going to be amazing. And they come in and it's like, you're the world's shittest band. Why are you even paying this money? But then like when you get someone good,
Yeah.
it was just really fucking cool.
Would you have thought, like, when we were knocking over beer bottles in the control room at Main Street like 10 odd years ago, that you would be in there behind the desk recording other bands and doing some
Totally not. Like I always thought of myself as it sounds pretentious, but it's all right because a few episodes ago Matt Bell came across as a fucking asshole. So I always thought of myself as a composer.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like the guy behind the desk, he wasn't the talented one. He was just the one who was like helping my vision get across.
Yeah.
which is, it's fine when you're young, but like nowadays I'm like, I had a bad experience with my solo project Germ, and I just thought, fuck it, I need to learn how to do all this myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, back then I would have thought, no way in hell would I ever be the guy sitting behind the desk because, you know, he's not the talented one. He's just the guy twiddling the knobs. Like,
That's it.
But I mean, I've studied it. I've fucking been doing it for years. I've got a diploma now, like, so.
Yeah, no shit. I didn't even know that. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, I kind of come full circle. I'm like, yeah, that guy actually, he's the one making the magic happen because he's the one who has to deal with this dickhead and his ego. And,
Yeah, that's right.
And then still make it sound good. And
Fuck. I still remember, and I think I mentioned this on the chat with Matt, sitting at your parents' place, and you had like, oh fuck, I'm trying to think of what the program was. It was the Guitar Tab,
Guitar Pro,
and you had like the notes mapped out to get a melody, and you had like a old Strat or whatever, and
it was a Squire Strat that I bought off Mav for $10.
And you were working out just like melodies, and I think that's where you came up with that keyboard line for Someone Else's Dream, because that was one of the things that you had. But then you had it didn't really go far, but you had your Chet Tapperson wine glass.
So you mean Chet Tapperson had Chet Tapperson's wine glass?
Sorry, you might want to edit that one. Just put Chet Tapperson twice.
Let's make this challenging. Like
you got a lot of work on your hands.
Yeah.
You might have to charge me double to edit this particular episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember like you sitting down and like just basically working shit out note for note and trying to put it into Guitar Pro, and then sending stuff like when we were just coming up with ideas for Lord stuff, and you just flick it to Tim like we were all doing, but you were actually attempting to put something on the computer, whereas I had like a cassette dictaphone next to an amp, like recording a really bog riff, and I'm like
the good old days.
But and then before, like, I mean, because I wasn't paying attention before I knew it, then you were suddenly recording bands, and you were like involved, and you were sitting in with Tim quite a bit, and obviously Tim was helping a fair bit sort of earlier on the piece.
Yeah.
And you were working at his studio, but I was like, oh fuck, when did this all happen?
I think I'm gonna say it. I actually have it right here. What Tomorrow Brings by Lord, your band.
Featuring yourself.
Featuring me on drums. That's no question. But I don't know. I actually engineered some of his lead vocals.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm pretty sure he forgot to put it on the booklet.
Oh,
I can't see it anywhere, so there it is. It's out there now.
Oh, Tim. Have you ever brought it up with him?
No, I think he said that I forgot to put something he did on one of my things, so we're even now.
Oh, okay. All right, that's okay.
I don't know. I don't mind.
Oh, man. When we were still playing together years ago, you still had like all the stuff on the side, and you'd already been in like 50 million bands before we even really sort of got going with Lord anyway.
Maybe not 50 million.
Oh, well, maybe, I don't know, just a couple less than that.
35 million.
35 million, that'll do. And I just remember you had Germ's Suicide, and I was saying that to Matt, where I vaguely remember, I could be wrong and you can correct me, but it was something like, let's try and make this the worst sounding thing possible, like at that time.
Yeah, like it fucking, it still is. It was like, okay, fuck it. I'm just going to take a minute to explain. So Germ Suicide, which is now Germ.
Yeah.
But in my heart, it's still Germ Suicide. Sewer side.
Yeah.
It was originally like, I just wanted to make basically like really emotional and great music that sounded like fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like, I want people to work for it. Like, so you have to listen, and there's melodies hidden because the guitar tone was like, I'm pretty sure we like, the original Germ guitar tone was like, we just kept cycling through things and tweaking with them until we found something that just sounded utterly terrible. And I was like, that's it. But
I like the fact that you got to make the listener work for it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, everyone's like recording music to win people over, and you're like, nah, fuck that. Like,
the prime example of making the listener work for it is a mate of mine, is Asgore from Drowning the Light. And Drowning the Light is like the worst sounding, like he still has, I don't even know how he records. I broke a string on his guitar in about 1999, and I don't think he's replaced it yet. So he just makes do without that string. And it's like a shitty Casio keyboard and stuff. And but the production's super bad, and it's like there's this mystique to the music. So your brain kind of, I'm sure there's a psychological thing behind it, that your brain kind of creates melodies that aren't there.
You're putting things in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's almost like what he doesn't play is what you hear, like, because it sounds so fucking shit that...
And a lot of that stuff, like a lot of the black metal stuff, it's got that repetition in it as well. So after a while, like, yeah, absolutely. If you've got like a riff that just goes for like, I don't know, 10 minutes and it only varies, like, if anything, like just slightly.
Back in Austere, we had riffs that went for like 20 minutes. One riff, 20 minutes.
But you start to, I mean, it's like hallucinating. You start
exactly.
to...
It's like a trance-like state. It's the same thing as well. One thing I'm doing now, I'm sure you probably want to touch on this later, is like guided meditations and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same thing. It puts you in a trance-like state. So you're not actually listening to the music anymore at a certain point. It's just there and it's subconscious. And it's the same thing with ambient music, with meditations, with stuff like that. And with repetitive black metal. Yeah. It gets to a point that it just is in somewhere in your subconscious brain, but you're not actually listening to it, but it's just fucking pounding away in there.
It's funny because all of those projects and all those like bands that were formed, or not even quite formed, like
formished,
like they've just got, in their own little pockets, have got this like cult following in like the weirdest places around the world. And I mean, you've been pretty lucky. Well, I'm just going to use the word lucky, but you've had like label support in Europe that's been able to push a lot of your stuff. And I mean, Matt says it, and I'm going to keep referencing Matt because we're going to drag Matt through the mud in this one.
Matt, that guy's such an asshole.
He probably will never listen to this episode. Yeah, that's how much of an asshole.
No, he'll listen to about 3 minutes of it and then he'll do something else.
He'll give up.
Yeah, because he's got ADD. Totally.
It's just like he was saying when you guys went over it must have been, I don't know, one of the Germ shows or something, and there was just dudes that came up to you
last year.
Yeah. And just freaking out. But like the fact that, I guess, I mean, you take what you do seriously, but to have people that just perceive what you do in a certain light, but then I guess the reality behind it of this coastal sunny town of Wollongong, that's the height of like black metal depression, and
it's like fucking 100%. Like these people probably, actually, I'll tell you a story. I had not a mate, just this guy that was like on my Facebook friends. He was from South America somewhere.
Okay.
And he played in a black metal band, and his like metalcore band, like trendy, like the Artie's Murder type metalcore thing, was touring Australia, and this was 4 years ago maybe. And he just thought, like, he was a massive fan of Austere, and he thought Austere would, if Austere are big in like Guatemala, is that in South America? I don't know, like whatever, some country.
Yeah.
He's like, surely in Australia they'll be massive. So he went into got to Sydney, and first thing he did is he went to Utopia.
Yeah.
And he went, just give me like Austere's discography. And the guy was like, who? He's like, like the black metal band Austere. And the bloke at Utopia's like, mate, go look in the A's, but I don't think we've got any of that. Like, so anyway, he contacted me on Facebook or whatever it was, and he's like, oh man, I don't have this. I can't even remember what the question was now, but anyway, so he ended up contacting me, and I just said, I was kind of moved by it. His band got fucked around by the promoter and stuff, so I invited him down. He was playing in Sydney and they had a night off, and I invited him down to Wollongong when I was living down there, and just said, look, mate, come down, we'll go for a beer, we'll get something to eat, and fucking why not? So he came down and he was like freaking out. He's like, oh my God, Tim, like from Austere and Germ and stuff.
Is he like taking heaps of photos and just...
I don't know, but he's just like, He's like, oh, my bandmates thought you would murder me because you're a black metal musician living in a cave. I'm like, mate, we're at a pub overlooking the ocean having like a beer and a fucking chicken schnitzel or something. Like, what are you talking about?
I'm wearing thongs.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, but I don't know. This may not be the question you originally asked, but I do think that people's preconceived notions are completely different to reality, especially with the Australian scene. Like, it's just
such a mindfuck because, I mean, and having a label in Europe that's like putting it out there, and obviously
that was it, labels.
but you were right. You're on the money, like about the perception of it all, because having the label there, and obviously your artwork and the music itself, of course, but it's being pushed out there. And I don't know. I mean, you have dudes in Australia that take a lot of this stuff seriously, and they're pretty diehard and borderline psychotic. And oh fuck, I'm gonna lose my train of thought all through this now. You get these diehards who they live and breathe whatever genre of metal, and especially from the extreme scene with black metal and whatnot. And so they just take it seriously. It's just, and so, yeah, their vision of you and I guess the way that you're on stage and your, like the persona that you put out on stage as well, and the arts and the music and whatever, I guess for a lot of people, the imagery around that makes you look like this mysterious guy that lives in a cave. And you call yourself Sorrow, and, you know.
Sure do.
And then I guess some people are going to be...
Then again, Matt, back to Matthew Bell, episode 99, calls himself Anguish.
I think the only time he's anguish is when he's got to mark school kids' test results.
Or maybe when the new pair of Nikes have sold out. Like...
Oh, poor Matt. Don't edit that one out.
I won't.
No, they can stay in there.
In fact, I'm going to like have a lead up and a filter sweep, and this is just going to be a centerpiece of this.
Oh, yeah. Here's the highlights. Do a preview. We will do a preview for the episode to come, and there'll just be a Matt Bell highlight reel that goes through it. So, all right. So while I'm on the topic of, I guess, Europe and I guess over the last few years with all the different things, like different projects, and obviously Germ's like the main, well, appears to be the main one.
Yeah.
But, and then you have a bunch
main-ish.
But has it always been through the same label that all of your stuff's been pumped out? You've had a couple of different labels?
The end of Austere was with a label called Eisenwald, a German label.
Yeah.
And he's the bloke who runs it, Nico, is a really nice guy. Like, Agalox signed to him for their last album. Now John's new band, whatever the fuck it's called, is like John from Agalock.
Yeah.
He signed to Eisenwald. But I signed to Prophecy.
Oh, is this who you're on now?
Yeah, Prophecy. So anyway, Prophecy was after the Grief album in 2013 for Germ. I contacted Prophecy about another project I had at the time, and they said, no, we don't want that, we want Germ.
Yeah, right.
And I was unhappy with Eisenwald because of various reasons that I won't get into.
Yeah.
And so I just went, yeah, sweet. And I signed to him for 4 albums, of which I've delivered 1. Second may come. Beyond that, and it's anyone's guess. But yeah, so it was, but they're a really good label. Like, they have like charting bands, like Alcest would be their biggest seller. They've got Arcturus, who were just out in Australia for a tour recently. And yeah, they're a really good label. And yeah.
Is it both labels, or because I've got a bunch of the releases, but they might be, I don't know whether they're on the old label or on Prophecy, but the artwork and like the packaging's crazy. But it might, like, I don't know what sort of, how that works with you guys. Like, do you guys have to take a bigger fucking, or a less of a cut if they're pumping more money into like digipacks and all these extra vinyl variations?
No, with Eisenwald, I think, I don't know, it's kind of like, black metal is probably one of the few genres where people still buy physical.
Yeah. And
it's like, I guess you have to give them something, give them a reason. Like, why would I buy like a fucking, what do you call it? Jewel case fucking CD with like a fold out cover with no information in it, like the old days. Like, so kind of the prettier and the better you can make the physical, the more sales you'll get. So it's like, yeah, like with Prophecy, it was, I just fucking say, it was a nightmare. They wanted like an art book with all this shit. I had nothing. Like, me and my mate tried to like come up with this art book, and they wanted like I think it was 72 page, like 48 by 48 art book. I'm just like, I can't do that. Like how? I've got like 4 photos and 1 drawing. Like, what the fuck do you want me to do?
But would they? So they just put it all on you to say just fill the pages, like
exactly.
Find your own artist or whatever, and all that shit,
and then say, oh no, that's not good enough. You need to do something better. But but yeah, I don't know. I like it. What the kind of ethos behind it is really cool. Like, give something special and charge $50 for it or whatever. But it's like you can pay $10 for a download, and what do you get? You just get some fucking MP3s.
Yeah, that's right.
Or you pay $50 and you get a free download, a fucking CD, a bonus track or 2, a nice book you can flick through with photos and glossy pages and shit. So I don't know. I think it's good.
I was pretty impressed. Like, it might have. Oh, fuck, I don't know what. I know Autumn's Dawn. That had like this crazy digipack fucking booklet thing, this white thing.
That was with Eisenwald.
Yeah. Okay.
That we had, like, the artwork was me and Matt went to Wollongong Botanical Gardens.
Ooh.
I just took pictures with my phone of like stuff and like arty ones with the sun shining through like trees and shit. And we made the booklet out of that, and it turned out really good. But when Nico wanted to like a special edition, he's like, we need something special. Like, it can't just be that artwork printed on cardboard. So he got a guy to do a wood carving of like a fucking nature scene or something, and then put it on like heavy set cardboard, and it was,
that's crazy.
Yeah, and it was like the fucking most amazing artwork ever. It looks incredible, and
it was like I don't think it was that expensive either, because I remember actually, now I ordered that and I got the 2 vinyls with so there's a white vinyl and I think just the normal black, just standard vinyl.
The first EP, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember you messaging me saying, like, I ordered it, and then I was like, I think it might have been like a pre-order or something like that, and a few months had passed and you're like, have you got your shit yet? I'm like, nah, and he's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And so I think that might have been when you're having some concerns or whatever, but
yes, label problems.
But oh man, I was so impressed with the packaging, but I've seen that across all the stuff that you've been releasing. It's like just, and I don't know if that's just that, as you said before, it's that genre of music with sort of extreme metal, black metal, where you need that sort of tangible, limited edition, unique, special product to sort of.
Well, you need something to sweeten the deal, and I liken it to like all throughout the 80s and 90s and 2000s and the Japanese market, it was cheaper for them to get an imported version of an album than to buy the Japanese press.
Yeah.
So what's the answer? They put a Japanese bonus track on it.
That's right, yeah.
So they would pay a couple of bucks more to get a special track. So it's kind of the same thing. You pay a couple of bucks more and you get, instead of just the digital files, you get a really nice package that you can fucking put on the shelf. Or
that's it. Especially if it's like limited as well. People they'll treasure that stuff. They'll spend the money, you know, just to say that they've got it, and it's not something that people can freely get later on down the track. Now, I remember with Agalog, it was like years and years ago when they first sort of got started, or it was around Pale Folklore.
Well, that's the first album, so
yeah,
after the demos.
Yeah, and then they started doing like the EPs and then the vinyl releases and whatever, and then it was a case of making sure you're on the N Records website when they released it. And so a whole bunch of us were always getting those releases when they came out, but now those releases are worth fucking so much money. It's crazy.
I actually sold an Agalog 10-inch. What's it called?
Tomorrow Never Comes, or...
I can't remember.
There's
it was the one with like a face, like a wooden carved face on the cover. Either way, I sold that on eBay for fucking shitloads. Like
Tomorrow Never Comes, maybe. Yeah.
And I felt like I put a starting price really low because I'm like, I sold $20 for this.
I sold that one a few months ago to a dude in Korea for $300.
Yeah, it would have. Yeah,
it's just insane. Like, just crazy. Like, and anyway, that's another reason why I'm selling that. Different reason why I'm selling that stuff. But yeah, like, it's just so sought after and so hard to get. And I guess, you know, with stuff that people release now, if people sort of think ahead and they go, oh man, I really want a piece of this, and it might be, well, I'll buy it for an investment opportunity and make some money later on. Or it's a case of I get to own something that a lot of other people will wish they had.
Yeah, for me, back when we got all that shit, like the Agalog stuff, I was like young. I was like 17 years old or something. Yeah. I was just like, fucking A, I'll save up my whatever. I don't even know how I got money then. How do you get money when you're 17?
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway, I had to save up money that was coming from somewhere and buy something. It was just because I wanted it, because I fucking loved it. And it was not like now, you couldn't go on the internet and just stream it.
No.
Like if you wanted those songs, you had to fucking buy them.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. And at the time, it's just like, I want that because I know that it's within an hour or within a few hours, it's going to be gone and I'll never get a chance to buy it ever again.
Exactly.
And I mean...
And nowadays, if something like that happens within 4 minutes of it being released, it's up on YouTube or whatever, on the torrents, like, so you can just listen to it. But back then, that's like, fuck that. I got it marked in my calendar that I need to pre-order this fucking Agalog vinyl, and
you'd be up at like 1 o'clock in the morning or whenever, like for the American time of when the M was gonna open up that order or whatever it was, and you're just like, oh man, got to get it in. Then you're messaging everyone else on ICQ or
I never
MSN.
used that.
Oh, it's
MSN,
MSN,
not ICQ.
Messaging everyone, just saying, oh yeah, I got it. Did you get it? Nah, fuck, suck shit. Yeah. That's that's cool. Oh, yeah, so we went off on a tangent for like, I don't know, fucking 20 minutes, but I was going to ask you about some of the weird stuff that you've been doing. Yeah. You like how I did full circle?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's full circle, but
it was a semicircle.
Semicircle and then...
back down.
A diagonal line. It's like, so you got this guy coming in shortly who's going to be doing, as in like in the next few days, not like in the next few minutes, but who's doing like
he's coming in now, so we better wrap this up.
Then we're done. Who is doing guided meditations, and we don't have to go into too much detail, but like he does it for sporting.
Yeah, I won't. Oh fucking! I probably should have checked beforehand, but I won't mention his name in case he's.
Yeah,
but he's a psychologist / wellness coach.
Yeah, right.
He's been working with the AFL and he's coached like premiership teams, like doing their, I think what it basically is like getting them into the best headspace possible on the field sort of thing. Yeah, so I'm working for him, like writing the music for his meditations and then recording him doing the, you are feeling sleepy.
Yeah, right.
Whatever else, I don't know. You are going to play a great game on Saturday.
You are going to hit a 6.
Yeah. No, you don't do cricket.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. That'll do. Oh, wrong one. It was an NBA player. Oh, yeah. Whatever you do in basketball, do it very well.
Yeah. Don't have a bad game.
Yeah, don't have a bad game. Whatever you do, don't have a bad game. That's pretty fucking out there. Like, okay, so you're writing music for that, or like, do you call it music? It's like this ambient.
It's music. It's like a lot of it's frequency based. Like there's like concert tuning is 440.
Yeah.
Like, so there's an argument that it should be 432 hertz, which is the fucking rotation of the earth or something.
Okay.
To be fair, you can only tell them when you A beam.
Yeah.
But whatever. And there's other frequencies. There's things that help study 528 and all this kind of stuff. And I incorporate that as binaural beats, which is like one side is moving at a certain like wavelength and the other side is moving at a different one. And you divide those in the brain and it creates a thing.
Fuck, you thought this one out.
Oh, yeah, I'm giving a really shitty explanation.
That's
but anyway,
right. I'm impressed. Like,
there's stuff like that. So it's all these psychological things that are meant to do. And I don't know if they do or if they don't, but it's very easy to go onto a computer and
I was just going to say, do you just whip the keyboard out and just fucking go?
I do. Like this old bad boy, this old Casio. That's why I record everything because I don't like weighted keys because I'm a shit pianist. So as soon as I have weighted keys, I play really inconsistently. But
Well, learning from Chet Tapson, I mean, you can only...
Yeah, I'm used to clicking a mouse.
Yes.
Not... Anyway. But yeah, so I do it on that, and then I'll add the processing afterward or whatever. And yeah, so it's all about that. And fuck. Either way, like what I'm doing is like long pieces that start off with not much.
Yeah.
And
sort of
gradually...
builds.
No, they end with even less.
Oh, really? Okay.
So it's like a meditation, like he will talk and then it will get less and less and he will talk less and less and they will go into a meditative state. And
Oh, okay. So
at the end, he brings him out of it.
So you're almost starting, not that necessarily it's a peak, but I guess it's a peak in that track where you're starting off because they're alert.
Exactly.
And their mind's in a million different places as we normally are when we're distracted and whatever.
Exactly. And then you will take them away from that and get to the point where they're just basically probably daydreaming and the music is just subliminally kind of there.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Fuck. Might have to get that guy on the podcast.
Yeah, you
It's pretty
should.
out there.
I'll hook you up.
You've also been doing some other like odd stuff.
Do heaps of weird shit.
Yeah, but you were doing. You said the other day or the other week about you were doing something for. Oh, I'm gonna fucking butcher this. Some Korean fucking movie or.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
That's going back a little bit, maybe a couple of months ago.
Yeah, it's going back a few months. It was an Aussie bloke who lived in Thailand, but he shot a movie in
Dodgy already.
In Kenya.
All right.
With Kenya's like best actress, who is I don't know.
I was trying to think of something witty there.
Just some chick. Yeah, there's nothing witty to say without sounding racist. Sorry. Anyway, so it was with this African bird. Is Kenya Africa? Or like, are they an independent thing? Do they say, we're not African, we are Kenyan?
Oh, I don't know. But
Probably.
I think they're on the continent of Africa.
Well,
so
yeah, but, I mean...
it's probably not as clean cut as that. Maybe it's a little more complex.
I don't know. Anyway, Kenyan chick.
Yep.
Anyway, so I was... Fuck it, I'll tell the story.
Yeah, tell us.
So I got... There's, like, many ways to get work online.
Yep.
And I ended up getting contacted by this guy to fix his movie. He used local crews in Kenya, and their gear was shit. Half the time wasn't working, so all the audio was really inconsistent. Like, the footage was good, but the audio was just fucking all over the place. So he had someone cut it up, like a video editor, but what he ended up with, he just wasn't happy with the audio because every scene it would cut to and it would sound completely different.
Yeah.
So anyway, he would, he sent it to me. He sent the shit to me and just said, can you make it sound consistent? Can you make it where you can't hear what they're saying? I can hear what they're saying. That guy's really loud. Make him quieter.
Yeah.
Just blah, blah, blah. The typical shit. Anyway, so he sent this thing to me. I was fucking convinced it was the intro for a porno. 10 minutes of this, like, Kenyan chick with this, like, Irish guy, like, basically talking about how she's addicted to sex and how weird stuff is.
Like setting the scene for this.
Yeah, and I'm just like, fuck, this guy's just going to send me the next scene. He's just going to be boning her or whatever. Like, it's, like going to be singing a pool with, like, 40 guys or something and, like, a helicopter. But anyway, so turns out I was wrong. And when he sent me the final scene, it was just that she was, like, she had like mental problems.
Yeah, right.
And she'd imagined the whole thing, so it wasn't a porno.
Ah.
But it was a challenge.
What a twist.
Yeah, I know. Especially for the guy who bought it from like Adult Warehouse.
So, but hang on, what did you have to actually do? What was the job that you had?
Okay, so the job for me was to take all these things which were recorded. Sometimes the boom mic was working, sometimes it was just the camera audio, and just basically make them sound as consistent as possible.
So you're almost like mastering or mixing.
Well, it's noise reduction. It's wearing a lot of hats. Like, but there was other things like there was like it's filmed in the fucking jungle or whatever. There's like birds tweeting. There's wind and fucking trees and stuff. So I had to like when I reduced the noise on the voice, all that shit went out the window. So I had to then recreate that using separate tracks and stuff and get that sounding. So when you saw her standing there talking with trees rustling in the background, it wasn't just her voice, it was, you also had that. So anyway, it was all that. And then at the end of that, he asked me to score it as well, and it was a really obscure thing because he's like, score it, but I don't want like music, I just want sounds. So it was like, but then I gave him one that was like sounds with like what would you call it, like effects, like trailer effects, like if there's something like bah,
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. So like dramatic sort of sound bites or whatever.
And he's like, no, that's too much, don't want that. So I just did like subtle kind of like swells and stuff of like would happen.
And he liked it?
Yeah, it ended up being great. And I mean, it sounds like shit, but like if people heard what I got to work, I can't even remember the name of the fucking thing, so they can't even search it. But
obviously from what it was to what it became, it was a dramatic improvement.
Much better, and it was months of work.
Yeah.
Like to get it happening. But
was it worth the money that they paid you to do it?
For me, I'll be completely honest. For me, yes.
Yeah.
For him, no.
Yeah.
What I told him right at the start, I said, you need to reshoot this. Like, or you need to go into a studio and re-record the audio. But his budget didn't allow it, so
wow.
We just made the best of what we had. But
how'd that guy find you?
because I have a few profiles on different websites of like just what I can do, what I do, and then have some examples of work
so
and
like
stuff.
sort of industry pages where people are engineers and sound engineers and whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
Then people can scroll through and look for someone.
Yeah, I don't really. I was doing like I was applying for jobs and trying to work, applying for jobs online, but it's a fucking losing battle because you're competing against a bunch of other people and you have to lower your price and stuff. So I just kind of wait for them to come to me, and as long as you got a good kind of name for yourself and a good feedback rating and everything, then people will come to you and be confident that you can.
Well, I guess after a while you'll maybe not that guy, I don't know, but you could get referred to other people through the work that you do.
Yeah, well, everything goes on in the kind of show reel, as you call it. Like,
okay, yeah,
like small snippets. It's like, look how shit this was, and now it's slightly less shit.
Now it's
Yours could
better.
be too.
What other stuff have you done? Like,
so I know the one I told you on Facebook the other week. It was a Muslim bloke living in Canada.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Fuck, I was blown away by this one.
And he sent me this video. He's like, and it was like him explaining how you need to date as a Muslim in Western society.
Yeah.
So he's like, but he reenacted everything, and it was the fucking funniest. And he had like,
Was it meant to be funny though? Or was it meant to
it was meant to be funny,
lighthearted
but
sort of thing?
Yeah, lighthearted, but with a real message sort of thing.
Yeah.
But so it was like, he's like, this is what you don't do, and it's like, oh, hey girl, how you doing, blah blah blah, and you go make out behind a fucking thing, and she gives you a wristy or whatever. But like, and then he's like, this is what you should do, and it's like, do you pray? Is Allah in your heart? And all this stuff.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yeah, I was full on. And he's like, and this is how you do it. But it went through all these steps of like up to the point that you get married, of how you should have your relationship build.
based off their religious
well, I guess, yeah.
principles or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But he's like, obviously it's not the same dating if I'm a Muslim in Canada and I'm dating like a Canadian bird.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have a fucking clue how it's meant to go. So
you gotta ease your way into
it.
it.
But it was really fucking. I mean, he got his like mate to film it on an iPhone.
Okay, all right.
And then goes, oh, it sounds like shit. And he filmed it near an airport, so there's planes landing and stuff.
Ugh.
Sounds like shit, and I can't hear my voice when the planes are landing. Can you fix it?
So is it a similar sort of concept to the other guy where you're just you're trying to reduce noise and...
Yeah, it's you hit the balance between keeping the voice sounding natural and getting rid of the unwanted noise, because you can get rid of all of it and then you hear this tinny, shitty voice that is just fucked. But yeah, it's finding a balance, and I actually like doing that. It's like post-production. Like, I watched a video the other day, and Game of Thrones, everyone's favourite show.
I've never watched it.
It's my favourite show. You should fucking watch it, man. What are you doing?
Did you actually watch it?
Yeah, fuck, of course.
It's so unlike you, because usually you would be... Well, I mean... I don't know what you're like these days, but usually if everybody else likes something, you'll wait 10 years and then start watching it.
Yeah, no, I still do. I haven't been to the movies, like the what do you call it, the picture theatre, since seriously, like maybe like 2001, like the first Lord of the Rings movie.
Yeah, okay, you're better than me. I think Django Unchained was the last one I saw, and I think that's probably hitting 10 years or around that now, so yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, like, no, I don't, like, but Game of Thrones is Game of Thrones. And
yeah, okay.
It's just amazing, and you should watch it.
Okay, all right.
But, what even was I saying?
You like this stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, sorry. So I watched this fucking video of the guys who do the post-production on Game of Thrones. They're saying out of 100 recorded lines, 99 will be, like, noise reduced.
Replaced?
And fixed up.
Yep.
So they don't replace lines, they'll record them on location, but then there's a company, Isotope, and the RX software, and you just noise reduction.
Wow.
And I just went, there's a fucking massive market for this. Like, so I've just been trying to focus on that, noise reduction.
Noise reduction.
Well,
what a fucking niche, though.
it is, but on these podcasts, one of the very first things I do, like I've got a template set up where I run it through some buses and shit, and they're compressed and EQ'd and stuff, is I'll find certain, because they're recorded in different places.
Oh, well, just use mine for an example.
Your what?
My podcast.
I am using yours, but you're always recording them in different places. So there might be different, like, weird background noises that are shit. So I don't want to get rid of them, because it would just be weird if everyone was just you and a guy talking. So you want ambience and you want shit in the background, but I'll find things that are distracting and just get rid of them. So that's, I do it on this all the time, like, and on your intros and outros.
I know, because there's always a bit of shit in the background.
There's always like crackle, like like the voice pops and your tongue moves and there's saliva on the tongue and stuff. So there's always a like all those sounds. Well, not that, but all those type of sounds. So I just get rid of them.
Yeah, nice. Okay, there you go. Oh man, it's amazing that like such a specific niche thing can be, I mean, it can be so lucrative, because I guess now, like, I mean, even just looking at podcasts are popular anyway, but just when you're looking at, as you said, like TV, movies, I don't even know what the format is now, like Game of Thrones, what's that? What's it classed as?
Well, I guess it's
a TV movie?
Series?
Or a series or whatever it is. Anyway, but I mean, there's just, the opportunities there would be massive. Because more and more people, it's easier for people to film shit. It's easier for people to record stuff, to do this podcast and all that sort of stuff. So the more that people have got access to this sort of shit, the more they're going to need people to make them sound better than what they are.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'd like to say I'm getting into this thing at the right time. But you had episode 98, was it Cusack?
Yes. Yep.
I recorded with him, like, I fucking YOLO and Damo and Darren. Like, love it. Damo and Darren especially, he's like the fucking funniest. But
especially you being local, like, that station's not too far down the road from...
Yeah, and the second episode's at Unanderra Skate with, like, West Leagues Club in the background. But anyway, so, yeah, I did a couple of sessions with him earlier in the year, and he's phenomenal. But I went back and listened to his older stuff, and there were little things that bugged me. Like, you could hear that it was... like, maybe it's being pedantic, but it's Damo and Darren talking to each other with their banter, fucking you fat quit, you cunt, whatever. But you could hear that it was recorded in a studio with a good mic and in a controlled environment. So I went back, and the stuff that I recorded for him, I got rid of the clicks and pops and gave it an ambience to make it sound like it was in where the thing's set, sort of thing. So
yeah, right.
It's a Foxtel show. I don't know what it's called. Did he talk to you about that?
He was telling me about it, but he didn't... Oh, fuck, maybe he did tell me. It was sort of... He threw it out in passing, but I can't remember what it was, but he said he was doing stuff for Foxtel.
So anyway, at some point, I had to sign disclosure forms and shit for it. So at some point, this Foxtel show is going to come out. And I'd like to think that the sound matches what you're hearing. So it's not guys at a train station who have birds and shit in the background, but with these really clear voices. It's going to be in the setting.
It's going to have that what's the word? Like, I was going to say ambience, but like, ambiance, and like it's just got that noise. It's that background noise.
Yeah, it's well, you don't like if I'm sitting here talking to you, we're in a controlled environment. You can hear every syllable. You know what I mean? You can hear everything.
Sinclair.
But if we're outside and that, you don't.
Yeah.
So it's just that making it sound real.
That's cool. So you had to sign a fucking waiver or some sort of non-disclosure thing?
No, it was a intellectual property thing.
Okay.
Because I don't know.
You signed it.
I read it, I didn't understand it, and then I just signed it and sent it back. It's something like because I have done work on it, it's classed as my intellectual property.
Yeah, right, okay.
So I need to give permission for that, and I'm just like...
Is that an animation series? That's...
Yeah.
Oh, wow, fuck. All right,
it's funny. After this wraps up, I'll play you some.
Yeah, cool. All right,
Yeah.
All right, so... Fuck, man, like fucking Kenyan movies, guided meditations, Muslim dating.
Yeah.
Germ suicide.
Yeah.
Crazy people from Guatemala, maybe Portugal, maybe South America.
Not Portugal. Definitely not Portugal.
Well, maybe speaking Portuguese.
Well, they would speak Portuguese, wouldn't they? Maybe
where...
Spanish, I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Brazil speaks Portuguese and the rest of South America speaks Spanish. Is that it?
Oh, well, I know Brazil speaks Portuguese. I don't... it might be another place.
I've got a mate who's Peruvian who speaks Spanish. So.
Yeah, maybe the majority of the place is Spanish. It's just Brazil.
I don't want to sound like...
Uncultured?
Yeah, uncultured. I'm very cultured.
Oh, okay, I'm not. I've had like 99, 100, 101. I don't know what episode this will be, but enough episodes.
Let's make it 103.
103? Okay.
Yeah, it's got a good ring to it.
Yeah, I like that.
103.
103. We'll find another reason to link like the numbers. What's the meaning behind 103? If you add them together.
One is the loneliest number.
Oh yes, let's talk about it. I think I've always loved John Farnham, but I think it wasn't until I moved to Sydney and spent a week with you when I first moved down.
Oh, yeah, you stayed at my house when you moved down.
Yeah, until like my dwellings were ready. And I think it was only then that I really started to fall in love with John Farnham, and I must thank you for it because I think you've just pretty much been a John Farnham fan since you were a kid.
Yeah, like, oh, fuck. I may be off by one or two here, but I've seen Farnsey, as of last count, 16 times. So...
That's mad.
Yeah, but my mum was a massive Farnsey fan, and they took me to I think it must have been the Whispering Jack tour, first went in 87 or 88. But then when it blew up, he did another round with the Melbourne Symphony.
Oh, okay. Is that the one that he recorded?
It would be on
Classic Jack.
Yeah. So that would be the first time I saw Farnsey. I obviously don't remember, it was like 4. But then I saw him again on the Age of Reason tour and the Chain Reaction tour, and what came after that? That one where he's lying down.
Oh, I should even know this. No, I stopped paying attention on the Chain Reaction.
Yeah, I know.
There's only a couple of good singles, and I just keep thinking of the last time, but that's not.
No, the last time was like one or two after that.
It was another white.
No,
cover.
there was There was a white cover, then there was Romeo's Heart, and then there was the last time.
What was the one lying down? Oh, fuck. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, but I saw him on all those tours, and it got to the point where around the last time my parents stopped going because they were kind of over it. But I just was fucking in love with Farnsey, so I just kept going to all these tours. And then the last time tour I was there, and then like a year later when he did not the last time anymore tour.
It's like, oh, fuck, better go back out again.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I remember sitting that first week... staying with you in Wollongong, and we went to the fucking New Illawarra.
Was I working?
No.
Like during the day or just
No.
blushing?
Oh well, maybe you took the week off. I don't know, but I just remember
every week off.
I just remember I saved a lot of money before I came down, and most of it was gone after that first week because it was just like I think we just went to the pub and we just drank a lot, and then we watched Ex Japan DVDs, and it was just it was a pretty good time. It's pretty good.
That's about right.
I remember being at New Illawarra and I think Matt was there. And it was before they did it up, and it's crap now. But when it was a shithole, I remember sitting there in the front bar, and Age of Reason came on, the little jukebox thing, and everyone's trying to do like the harmonies and the backing vocals all through it. And I'm pretty sure.
What about the world?
Yeah. It was definitely you and Mav, and there was a couple of other locals that were there at the time, but I think then I was like, oh yeah, Fonzie's pretty awesome, and then it was just all over after that. It was just Fonzie obsessed. It was pretty good. And we're back. We're getting oh fuck, they're still cold. Oh man,
it's magic.
The magic Oettinger. I honestly have not had one of these beers in years. I think the last time was when. Actually, I think you might have been with us. We were pushing a trolley down a street in St. Peter's going to a house party.
Sounds like something
we gate crashed someone's house party. I don't think we were meant to be there. Actually, I think the inn was you, and I think you knew someone was having a house party.
I did. I know what you're talking about. It was remember Mika?
Yep.
One of his mates was having a party. So we went.
And that's when we were still living in Cronulla. And so we got on the train, we had a carton of Stella, and then when we got off the... Yeah, I know. And we got...
I remember having a trolley at some point as well.
Yeah, we picked up a trolley from Sydenham Station and then wheeled it down the road to the house, and then they had a house where it had this like really narrow corridor, and the trolley went in the house, and then there was... I just remember everyone was smoking cigarettes, so I think everybody just joined in. I remember I was smoking cigarettes, so I was just going, what the hell? And then someone was making popcorn, and then we just started throwing the popcorn everywhere, and then I threw a saucepan at Andrew Craig. And
Andrew Craig was there, was he?
Yeah, and it was Andrew Craig, Turner, us.
Stiffy was there, wasn't he?
Stiffy was there as well.
I remember because before we went out...
And I think Will was there as well. Will Hobson, who ended up being
Whiskey William.
Yeah, in the Kylie Minogue video.
Yeah, I remember really early that day, as in like probably before lunch, me and Stiffy bought a case of Heinekens, like cans, and we watched the Shane McGowan documentary.
A bit of inspiration.
Yeah, and then like we kept pausing it to like shotgun cans, like stabbing them with our keys and shotgunning them, and then and so by the time we went out, we were fucked.
It was bad. I remember being on that train, and we pulled up to Sydenham, and we were throwing something at somebody else, and the cops were on the platform, and the other guys...
I don't remember that.
But the other guys got in trouble. We had all this open beer, but the cops were more distracted by the guys in the train because they were causing a ruckus, and so we got away with all this open beer that we were drinking on the train.
Fuck, I don't even remember that.
But yeah, I threw a saucepan at Andrew Craig's head and it cut his eyebrow open.
I remember.
Yeah, and he's still pissed at me that whenever it comes up in his mind, he's quick to throw the blame at me.
I'd throw the blame at Stella.
Yeah, that's right. Blame that fucking shit beer. Oh yeah, so I wanted to ask you this, and I was listening back to once again Matt Bell.
That arsehole. Matt Bell, the biggest arsehole in Australian music.
the guy who had to keep saying, "I think I've come across as an arsehole in this podcast."
Like, yeah, mate, you have.
He told me the story of I think I don't know what it was for. You'll be able to tell me, but where you needed to record some vocals and you went over to his house and you recorded them in his sister's bedroom.
It was for, did he like say the band and stuff? I think he goes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, it was a Ukrainian, he's either Ukrainian or Russian.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. And I did the drums on this album for him, and he asked me to write lyrics and do the vocals. So I said, yeah, cool, I'll do that for how much dollars, or was it in Ukraine? Lei, Romanian.
Oh,
lei.
I was going to say Ukrainian.
Ron, I don't know, whatever, like Ukrainian fucking car parts, but
I was going to say just stone chips.
yeah, donkeys. So I said, for a donkey in a field, I'll do your vocals. As long as the soil is fertile.
Yeah, but I like the conditions.
So after sending a geologist to test the soil, I agreed, and I'll probably edit this.
No, don't keep it in there. You have to keep this in there.
So anyway, yeah, I did the vocals for this thing. It was a really good album. And it's a band called Sky Forest.
Oh, yeah, okay, you're going to name drop.
Yeah. I'll fucking say it. He's a nice guy, Bogdan. Forget his last name, Bogdan something or other. And so yeah, but I can't remember why. I think I was like renovating my bathroom or kitchen or something at that time.
Couldn't do it.
And I couldn't do the vocals at home because there was like power tools going on and there was just shit in my room. And so I just said to Matt, I said, well, Matt, you've got a computer, you've got a couple of mics and you've got some good gear. Like, can I come around and do them at yours? And he's like, yeah, no worries. So yeah, we rocked up, but he'd just broken up with his girlfriend and moved back in with his parents, and it was his little sister's bedroom, which was like painted pink with like fucking ponies and dolls and shit all over it. And so I just did the vocals there, and it was fine. But it was just like the worst atmosphere. Like it was I should probably saying it was like an affluent suburb.
Yeah, Austere,
beachside suburb.
Austere is like a really nice like area. It's an expensive area. It's a nice
when
coastal region.
Yeah, when you listen to the album, the Sky Forest album, and I can't remember what it's called, you probably hear like despair and misery, but well, fair play. Like the lyrics were pretty bad, but like yeah, I was doing it in like a pre-teens bedroom with like pink walls overlooking like a uninterrupted ocean view.
Little do those passionate. Was it black metal?
Sure was.
Was it like screaming? Or,
yeah, it was like proper screaming.
Oh, were Matt's parents home?
No.
Oh,
I did it when they were going.
You coordinated it appropriately.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, little did the listeners know. Well, maybe now. Nah, they won't. They won't be listening.
I don't think
our fan base probably wouldn't be listening to the Antisocial podcast.
It was funny though because when we were in Europe last year doing the Germ, Shot Prophecy Fest, there was like all these people with Sky Forest patches and shit on.
Oh,
their
really?
jackets.
No shit.
Excuse me. And Matt thought it was like the funniest thing ever.
Oh man, were you noted on that album as being yeah? So
as Sorrow, my birth name Sorrow.
Yeah.
No.
But people were going to that to see you, and they had that patch knowing that you were linked with that as well. Fucking hardcore.
There's like these Italian guys at some point that were like fucking come up and said, oh, can we get your autograph and shit? I'm like, all right, whatever, don't worry about it. Yeah, I'll give you my autograph, I'll take a photo. Fucking hell. Like, I'm just here sink and piss. Like, what have I got better to do? Like, but it was heaps weird at Prophecy Fest last year, like, because Prophecy Fest was a festival put on by my label.
Yeah.
Or Germ's label, Prophecy. And we did a meet and greet after the concert. So we did the concert and I thought it was shit. But it turned out everyone else said it was good, so I was like, oh, sweet, cool. And we had a meet and greet like 3 hours later. But as you do, after we got on stage, I was gone the piss. But so the meet and greet was like 4 hours after and I just completely forgot. And it was like at 9 p.m. or whatever, and I was just sitting outside like drinking and whatever, just having fun, and the guys from the label came up and they're like, what are you doing? Your fucking meet and greet was meant to start 5 minutes ago. I was like, oh shit. So I just walked up there, sat at the table, and there wasn't pens and stuff, and was pandemonium, and I was just like, fucking who cares? It's probably like 3 people, if that.
Yeah.
And because it was a cave, it just went into the darkness.
So you couldn't see.
Yeah, I literally thought it was just like 2 or 3 people. And it ended up being, there was like fucking like 100 or 200 people. And it took like probably 2 or 3 hours sitting there to sign everyone's stuff. And I was just like, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. That's like, it's such a mind fuck. Like, just after all these years to be able to, like, just from us being pissed cunts, and I guess still now, nothing's changed. But just from that to, I mean, all the stuff that you've done over the last few years is incredible. Like, and to have all these people that just are so fanatic about what you do is just, it's insane.
Yeah, well, aside from recently, we've been ending every Germ concert with an Austere cover. And we should probably explain Austere as a band I was in with a friend of mine before Germ and blah, blah, blah. So, like, the biggest Austere song, which is just this song we wrote together, we ended it, and at that festival in Germany, like in Australia, it's always kind of had like a decent reaction, people singing along and kind of going, yeah, cool, and headbanging or whatever. But in Germany, I looked out and there were people crying. There were people like screaming the words. There were people headbanging. There were people like making out. There were like people hugging.
Wow.
And it was just like, fucking hell.
Fuck, man. I remember sitting in your lounge room, wasted, getting overly emotional because it's like, what were we watching? The Last Live. And
it's a good one.
It's a good one. And just like saying how amazing this is, and then even like when you're still in the band, we did the Metro gig, and you did your
drum solo,
emotional drum solo,
sitting solo,
contemplating life,
off the side of the stage and then sitting solo
with your jeans that were like ripped. One leg was ripped off. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that, and those jeans, like, it was like one leg cut like hot pants and one like proper jeans. Yeah. But it was because I had like a rip in the thigh of the jeans, and I put my foot through it when I was pissed, like when we were on tour trying to put them on, and I just ripped the whole front. So I'm like, what do? These are my only pair of jeans. Like, I'm not rich, I'm in Lord at this point. so I just cut the back to match the front, and it was sweet.
It was fine. It was just a unique, mysterious look that added to a little bit more of the uniqueness of your your emotional drum solo.
Yeah,
it was pretty.
But I'd like to think that those few minutes of uncertainty really added that when I actually did play the drums, it had more of an impact.
That's it. Well, hey, I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, you're a drummer, so I mean, you'll have a different perspective. But when I go and see a band and they do a drum solo, I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's so boring.
Yeah, and it's just, but it's the same thing. It's the and the crowd like fucking gets
claps,
into it.
I know.
Or it's just like, you know, I'm gonna do like this crazy thing, fucking whatever, and it's just, there's nothing to it. It's like, oh, okay, that's the drink break, that's the piss break or whatever. And I remember you doing that, and then there was like, because you had the backing track going, for that,
it's orchestral music playing.
And we had one of my mates doing the lights, and he had this really sort of ambient sort of light setup.
That's right,
going.
yeah.
And then he walked out the front, and I can just imagine the crowd going, where's this going?
The best thing was it went fucking nowhere.
So he just sat down, just went head down, just contemplating life. But it was you know what? It ended off a big year, and Mav was leaving as well. So I think it worked out quite well. But fuck, man, like, from an emotional, and you were always about the emotion, especially watching X Japan, and I think that's obviously where it came from.
Yeah, back then I was like, I just, everything needs to be over the top emotional. Like, we need to, like, I want to reference Matt Bell again.
Yeah,
when he said, "Fucking cunt." So when he said, like, I'm paraphrasing here, but it was something like, I don't want, when people come to see Troll Talking, I don't want them to look up on stage and say, that could be me up there doing that. He said, I want them to look up and think, I could never do that. Like, it's not in such, obviously not in a so unsussily arrogant way.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I wanted. Like, I wanted to put on a show, and Dungeon was all about, like, just getting up, like metal fans getting up and playing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wanted this to be about these, like, clearly mentally deranged, like overly emotional, like people, like performing this, like
having a breakdown.
Yeah, basically, like. And I just thought that's a really good way to distance yourselves from your audience. So it's not like they can't come up to you after the show and just go, "Hey, fucking Andy, great show." They'd be like, "Is Andy all right? Like, I'm really confused." And then they just gives that barrier.
That's it. It's painting something more than just getting up on stage and playing a show.
It's like theatre in a way.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, absolutely. And just on the topic of X Japan, really quickly. So we recorded that cover years and years ago.
Sirens Jealousy.
Yes, and pretty mad cover. I'm still.
It's all right. It's too slow. We should have done it faster.
Man, do you read? I don't know if you ever go back and look at that YouTube video.
I don't.
But fuck, like
how many views it had?
310,000 or something like that.
Fuck me, that's all right.
It still goes up there.
Is it good comments, bad?
Oh well, yeah. There's the Japanese polite criticism.
Yeah,
certain things, so you have to translate it and try and decipher what they're saying.
The drum isn't as powerful.
That's it, yeah. Or like, they should have got a few people said they should have got a real Japanese person to sing the vocal.
Didn't
Hideaki from Vigilante.
We did get a fucking...
Yeah, Japanese guy did the Japanese vocals, what the fuck? And then they're criticising the piano as well.
Because it's MIDI piano.
Yeah. Yeah, but...
sorry that we don't have the budget to record a grand piano, like... Fuck me.
But I think overall, I think most of the comments are pretty positive, and there's even one Japanese dude who's done a cover of our cover.
Really?
Yeah, I'll send it.
Wait, didn't Yoshiki retweet
the
Lord cover at some point, like a few years ago?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I should
try
to do that again. That's pretty good.
Should. Send this fucking thing to him.
Yeah, hey mate, fucking listen to this.
Yoshiki, listen to this. We talk about you for a very small amount of time right at the end.
No. Right at the beginning, just keep listening.
Yeah.
But I remember we were sitting somewhere probably fucking wasted, and you're like, "Oh man, we got to get this on YouTube. Hey, I reckon we'll get like 10,000 hits in like 10 a day or something like that." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, good call." And we got the mongrel, Tomo.
Tomo.
What a legend. We got him to put together a compilation still shot video thing.
That's right,
And so he put that up on our YouTube thing for us, and it fucking died in its ass. Like, it wasn't getting any traction to begin with, and we're like, oh well, never mind. And it got a few hits.
that was I remember I really pushed to do that cover because I was like, come on, this band's massive. We need to do it.
But I remember, like, when we were talking to Maru about it. Maru was like, "Oh yeah, they're popular," but it's like, and it's like, oh come on, man! Like, this is like your fucking biggest band ever. Like, we thought we were on the verge of fucking just exploding by doing this cover. But we put the YouTube video up, and no one gave a fuck for a little while. And we're like, oh well, never mind. And then just steadily over however many years it's been out now, like what, fucking 10 years.
300,000's all right.
It's pretty good.
Even 10 years, that's 30,000 a year.
It's pretty good.
That's what, 1,000 a day? No, 100 a day. I'll take that.
I like that.
Close enough.
But and it's majority. I've checked the little stats on the video. It's mostly Japanese people who just keep fucking going back, or people finding it. So
sweet.
I'm going to do a retweet. I'm going to put it in the show notes of this episode. Speaking of which, thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's end it.
All right, the end.
The end. Thank you, folks. All right. Wow. Okay, I've got a few show notes to put in. Far out. Enough things that he's been involved with over the years. So everything that we spoke about is going to be over in the show notes over at andysocial.net, as with all the previous guests and episodes that I've had on the podcast. So go over there. I'm going to have all the projects, all the bands, all the work that he's been involved with. We'll see if we can add some videos and stuff in there. I'll see if TY can pull up some interesting stuff that we can add into the show notes over there. But if you want to reach out to him, if you've got any audio work that you want done, or whatever, make sure you reach out to TY, and I'm sure he would be obliged to help. Maybe. I don't know. I'll leave that to him to make that decision. Anyway, enough. All right, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to wrap this up really quickly. Social media stuff, like, share, retweet, love, all that sort of stuff goes a long way. PayPal.me, Amazon, portal link, all that sort of great supporting stuff over at andysocial.net, so you can go over there. And I'll be back next week. Another episode. We're going to keep it going. Next Thursday, 8 p.m. Sydney time. That's when you find the new episodes are out. So, okay. That was a really awkward ending to this episode. Goodbye.